Hey guys, welcome back to another video covering State of Decay. I'm Obi, I'm going to be joined by Sobi today. We're going to be doing an impromptu discussion on State of Decay 3. We're also going to be talking about State of Decay 1 and 2 and our thoughts on where they went wrong and possibly the future of State of Decay. With that being said, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Also, as you watch, please leave us some comments. We want to know your thoughts on State of Decay 3 as well. This is probably going to be a 4 to 5 part mini-series. Let's jump into it. We're going to start off with, what do you think State of Decay 2 did wrong?
Yeah, so State of Decay 2, there was a lot of hype behind the game. There was a lot of stuff and a lot of people that were pretty excited for the game, and I feel like overall, once we actually got our hands on the game, it really just felt like a Xbox 360 game that they had updated some of the textures, updated some of the zombies, kind of gave you, minimal at best changes, and that was kind of it. Added a new zombie type, which quite frankly I found pretty annoying through most part of the game. No, not the Juggernaut, actually the plagues. The plague zombies.
Oh, that's right, the plague zombies. Was the Juggernaut in the original?
Yeah, Juggernaut was in the original. They had it was the Feral, the Bloater, and I want to say there was another special type, but I don't remember.
The Screamer.
The Screamer, there you go, yes. But overall, I just feel like one big letdown that everybody had really wanted was the multiplayer. And they basically they went about multiplayer in the most backwards way that you possibly could.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. So whenever we played State of Decay 1, it was a lot of us playing the game and handing the controller back and forth, and we kind of enjoyed that, but we had always talked about how awesome would it be to be able to have two people in the game, have full control over a community, and they did the exact opposite of that. They were like, okay, cool, let's pull in a member from an outside community that you can play as, but you're not really doing anything other than assisting the person that's playing, and you have no control over what happens. You're tethered to the other person, which is actually probably the most annoying thing, because it's, when you have one person that's played the game for a while that's really quick at like dumping their inventory, they know exactly what they're like wanting to get rid of, and then you have another person who's a little bit more like, let me think about it and like methodically put away the things that I want to put away.
Because at the same time, you're trying to learn, not only that, you're trying as a newer player, you're trying to see, they did add a lot of different items to the game, so you are trying to see what other items they've added and everything. So a newer player playing with a more experienced seasoned player definitely is going to look at the inventory a little closer, because they're like, oh, I don't remember this, or I didn't see that.
Yeah, it slows everything down. And for me, where I'm just like, I've played the game quite a bit, and I'm like, okay, cool, let me just dump my stuff and like, let's roll. And then I'm waiting on somebody, and I'm like, come on, man, like, like my time is limited to play this game. You shouldn't have to wait, especially if you have more than one vehicle, but then like you're really tethered to that person within a specific area. Or even like, let's say, like, let's use this as an example. One of my biggest problems with State of Decay 2 was the neighbor system, like the system that they had in place where like your neighbors are constantly begging you to do things, which is fine, and I'm pretty good at, when I'm playing by myself, being able to get those done. But when you're playing with somebody else, it's a little bit harder, and it would be nice if it's like, cool, I've got multiple quests to get things done, let's divide and conquer. Like, you go take care of this, I'm gonna take care of this. Me personally, I still think that they need to kind of turn that down a little bit, how frequently your neighbors are bugging you, because I feel like the game gets you get overloaded with things to do, and you can't really kind of like take a breath and like really take in the world, because you're constantly like running from spot to spot rather than being able to kind of explore and take your time. And that's one of the biggest things that I have with any kind of video game, is that immersion factor and being able to like soak in what's around me.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. For me, the biggest factor that I have a lot of times in a video game is multiplayer. I like playing with other people. I like having fun. And especially with a game like State of Decay, where it's kind of set more as like a zombie, it is a zombie game, but where you have it set as a zombie game and it's, survival and this, that, and the other, you kind of have already an idea of what that game's going to be like. And I feel like on all levels, they just didn't really hit all the points that they needed to. And I think that's why we saw such a huge hype for the State of Decay 2 game, and then a very quick recourse of that to where that just dropped back off and then kind of went into obscurity and really went into kind of more of the diehard fans, you know, the people that really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, they didn't really hold a lot of attention. Like, I remember, so State of Decay 1 came out, and it was a good while, just based off of like there was a lot of issues with the game when it first came out, like the original, as far as like, you know, just bad design within, you know, it had underrated graphics. You know, it was what they would call an Xbox arcade game back in the day. Like, it was an indie game, like we would call them now. But it had poor graphics. It had a lot of jank. There was a lot of issues with it. So I held off for like a very long time until you were like, hey man, you really need to check this out. This is actually a pretty cool game. And then finally I like picked it up. It was on sale and I was like, I love it. Like, I love this. Like, I love everything about this game, but it could be more. And that's really what I was hoping State of Decay 2 would do, was take what they had from the first one and just do it better and expand upon it. And honestly, I feel like they withdrew. Like, so for instance, one of the biggest things that I liked from the first one, and you know, other people might not agree with this, is being able to like board up your windows and stuff. Like, that was something that we didn't see in State of Decay 2. You know, and it's kind of silly, but like that little like extra level of protection, if you would, it made the game a little bit more immersive, where it's like, you know, you need to go in and you need to like fortify your building, your compound that you're staying in. And I definitely feel like they kind of took that away, where it's just like, cool, let's run in here. I've got enough people or supplies to take over this building. Now it's ours.
Yeah, and I feel like the other bit of that too is, you know, so that kind of leaves us in a bit of a lurch, really, where people aren't really sure what to expect from State of Decay 3.
Yeah, especially with the trailer drop, like with the animals, like that kind of threw me off. Like, did I necessarily enjoy it? I'm not sure. Like, a trailer is supposed to hype you up, and that trailer, I think, I just don't know what direction that they're going in with the game, and I think it left me with more confusion than it did being like, oh man, State of Decay 3. Like, am I excited about it? Yes, because I want to know what they're doing with the game, and I want to see like what direction they're going to go in. But am I worried about the game? Absolutely. Like, I'm more worried about it than I was before I saw the trailer drop.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. That trailer, did it inspire hype for the game with me? I will say yes, because I was kind of shocked that I saw, you know, that zombie deer sitting there screaming at you. It's like, whoa, that's really creepy. But at the same time, it really left, because everything that we had just said, State of Decay 1, State of Decay 2, you know, they had that community. They had that, you know, kind of, that community aspect. There's really no other way to say it. They had that community aspect. And in this one, you see who we're assuming is a character, or the main character or whatever, sitting alone at a campfire, not protected by walls, not protected by a compound, not protected by anything, just out in the open. And honestly, we see her as, you know, some rough and tough person who sees a wolf, and instead of, you know, kind of shielding herself or hiding away or doing anything along those lines, I mean, quite literally screams back at the wolf like, bring it. And it's just, that's a whole different vibe from the other State of Decays, that it's I'm just not sure where they're going with it. So there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot there. It's that awe factor of like, man, what is going on? Like, what are they planning? I think that's more of why I want to see it than anything.
What really confused me too with this one, and you just mentioned it, where she screams at the wolf, was, you know, not that there was necessarily a big focus on stealth, but there was always that like, hey, we need to be quiet, we need to search slowly kind of deal. You know, in State of Decay 2, you had the noise factor when it comes to your compound and your base, and then this one, it starts out with her just like outright just screeching at this wolf, and my first thought was, cool, you just alerted every zombie in the area. Like, that was my first immediate thought. And they're going in like a completely different direction with that than they have in the past. And maybe I'm just looking too far into it. Maybe they were just trying to get that, like, you know, she's I mean, she kind of looks like she's definitely been through this, like
the ringer.
Yeah, she's been through the ringer. She's been in this for a while. Like, she's dealt with zombies, like she, you know, and maybe she's just sick of it. Maybe she's just like, whatever, I don't care. It's time.
Come what may.
Yeah, like whatever happens, you know, who knows? And maybe that they're going to kind of focus a story around that, where it's just like, you know, she's done with everything.
Thank you for joining us on part 1 of our State of Decay mini-series. If you have any thoughts or questions, please comment down below. As always, join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord. Links are always in the description.
This is Obi.
This is Sobi.
Signing out.
See you guys next time.